I think that's the thing that people don't get is like, you know, it's hilarious, but like every agent that struggles, the one thing I think they never do is self-evaluation, and they don't ever commit. Whatever you're committing to. You know what I mean? It's like, I love when people, you know, want to talk about video, and it's like, you've been like going back to it's funny, it doesn't matter how many years have gone by, you not telling that lady, hey, I've been knocking for 6 months, why does it not work? She's like, I've been doing it for 5 years, and it's hard. And it's the same thing in my space now with the newer agents, you know, because everyone wants to do social media, and they go, how does this work? I'm like, I've been doing it for 6 years. Every day, I invest in a videographer, and I invest in
a commitment.
I have committed to this, and that's what it is. You have to fully commit.
Yeah, it's true. And there's many models.
100%. There's so many ways to be successful in this industry.
I would emulate those that are being successful and then make it your own. But there are many ways to do it. There's something going to be invented. I mean, you know, Zillow will be on the hash beef of history
100%.
in 15 years. Something will come along. As big as Amazon is, something will come. It will be different. It will transition. But you have to be able to adapt. But at the end of the day, there's many models, but commitment to it, and then evaluating constantly to tweak that in a manner that will allow you to move with the market and you know, whatever else happens, regulation, whatever.
Yeah. Do you think that agents nowadays, because there's so much ways to communicate with the world of branding and stuff, that they are too independent, where they're so like anti like working for someone, or it has to be about me, I don't want to be in someone's shadow, and that makes them flaw? That it's like going back, they don't drink the Kool-Aid enough for where they work at?
Is it too much that way? Look, this business has always been about the entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah.
This business is always, if you went into this business, you were working for yourself.
Yeah.
What I tell my sales associates, and some of them get it, some of them don't, is that my job is simply to support your business. Use my tools, come on in, you will pay a price for that. Mm-hmm. Is it too much that they're independent? I do believe that when I started, it was all about the broker.
Yeah.
The broker, the brand, the broker, the tools. They ran all the ads, and you. But now that's changed, and we've allowed that to do it. When brokers opine about their change in the business, like, you gave it away. You started paying people 90% and not giving them enough stuff, but. In reality, technology has created options for the agents, and I think it's a good thing. All I can do as a broker is give a set of support systems and a good name and recognition that will augment their business. Are they too independent? I applaud the independence and the entrepreneurship of this business. Now, when I say that, the truth is that at some point that has its attrition factor. Most small businesses in the United States fail. Most realtors fail. The average time on is 18 months. Mm-hmm. The average age of a broker is 57. One of the reasons for that is because it takes a long time to get there. The average it's a second career for many people. So I always say, the reality is that this business is going to thrive because here's another thing I'll tell you about this, and it's sort of, which is people always say this new model over here, everybody will be working for Alphabet Realty or whoever, right? And I had this conversation. I go, well, if you look at the MLS, if you look at the rosters of most in board of realtors, local board of realtors, most agents work for an independent. Mm-hmm. Now there's big offices with 200, but there's 400 agents working for 3 of them here and 4 of them here. Why is that? It's because they get a certain level of support that they get there, and they don't need what the big house is giving, or they don't want to pay that. So I always say that we are always going to have an industry of entrepreneurs as long as the model that the DRE allows of independent contractors and getting paid 1099 and creating their own business is allowed. We will always have a strong, independent, driven people. And I think it's great. Today, there are more minorities coming into this, people that would looked at as a minority. Frankly, look at the Hispanic community, which brings the values of family, hard work, and entrepreneurship. they did that. So these are going to be the future, and I don't think that people that it's a bad thing for the industry. We just have to make sure, going back to that, we create a industry that regulates and promotes that the ethical treatment for the public, the agents, and our clients. Yeah.
Well, Doug, a lot of the people that watch my podcast are brand new agents who are struggling to get some deals. So why don't you finish off? What's one or two things, advice you can give someone who is new in the industry that they can get a deal in the next 90 days?
Well, I'm going to give you one that people will say, oh, I can't do that.
Yeah.
But the first thing is, if you've grown up in a local area or you know some places, the first thing is we spend way too much money trying to do business with strangers. The first thing is get your sphere of influence together, get a strong CRM, and I don't care if that is a index cards or it's a top producer and spend thousands of, or it's Excel. Put that in there and start building relationships. If you want to do business quickly, then that you can do that. You should be able to get, if your sphere, and I don't care if that's 50 people or 100 people, you should, and that is your goal, by the way, is over the, when I sold all those houses to veterans in the early 80s, I lived through the 90s on those people that then sold and moved up. I had a 600-piece database, which I've now whittled down to 100. I mailed to about 125 people that I mail, I email, and then I write a personal note to. Not all 150 of them every month, but I write personal notes to. So it's that sphere of influence. That's the first thing. Build that and go after it. Don't be a secret agent. Make people know that you're there, whether it's social media. And don't make the mistake that social media everybody knows you are in real estate when you're in social media. The problem is that many of your sphere is not going to be in that, or that the way the social media works, they're not going to get it out to them. They don't even see it. Yep. They're never going to see it, even if you think you're your friends, because all your friends don't see it. A personal knock, knock, knock on the door, a personal thing. If you're not, and you can always kid me about my about always being logoed or always being
name tag. He walked in my office with a name tag.
I did, and I only took it off because I didn't want to brand it, but I didn't want to be branded. But always, if you're not branding, and so that's the social.
I can't judge you. I'm wearing my company hat right now, so you know what I mean.
As you should be.
Yeah.
And you should be proud of that, and never and always be proud of high standards and promote it. But the truth is that we think that most people have a realtor or know somebody with these 200,000. They don't.
Yeah.
It constantly surprises me that I'm the only one going in on a listing appointment. I'm the only one. And if you think you're competing against all these other agents, you're not. I mean, I remember when I was farming real hard, there was 3 or 4 guys that we'd go in. I'd pass them coming in doing listing presentations. That doesn't happen today.
No.
And it's not just me. It's all new people. If you can get in the front door. So the sphere of influence is huge. Build that. But one letter every 60 days is not it. You need to build a relationship. They need to know that you're in the business and you're ready, willing, and able. And so that's for the people that can do that. Now, for somebody that's brand new, now people do come in. I have a kid the other day came in and he said, I just moved back from Arizona. I don't know anybody here. I'm living with my sister. I only came here because I could live here for free. And but I got my real estate. I want to do this. And I said, okay. Frankly, I looked at me and I said, what are you willing to do? And he says, anything. And I said, okay, well, here's what we're going to do. We are going to the following. We're going to get you involved in something, and we are going to get you on the phone, and we're going to up your, all the things that you do. But you need to up your exposure level immediately. Now that doesn't, it's not even earth-shattering what I'm telling you, but the fundamentals apply. I will say that if you do sphere of influence and then you go after the strangers, that I call them, you will get business. I will tell you that if you knocked enough doors today in almost any area, and there's areas here that people say, oh, this agent owns it.
He owns it, yeah.
Yeah, no, there's people that if you walk down the door and say, what's the top agent, and there's an agent, and they have a listing next door, they couldn't tell you who the top is. So I'm telling you, if you knock on doors and make it, I can't tell you. It's between 100 and 250 doors that you'll at least have some kind of lead. I have agents that go out and knock, and on their 127th door, they got a listing. They didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
So, but I would push sphere of influence, and then I do the fundamentals of knocking, walking, and that. I will say that do the social media at whatever level you can. If you can shoot a video handheld in front of a house and that's all you can do, then you should do it, because it gives you a library of things that you can show and tell and get out. I don't know that, like what I said, this is earth-shattering, but it is real. The fundamentals apply, and if you do it, you will. Now, I will tell you the final piece of it is, it has to, just like the old airplane analogy, you have to do it immediately, you have to do it intensely, and maybe you can cruise in 9 months. But in the first 30 to 60 days, you better be knocking those doors, mailing out, calling, going to the baseball fields, going, if you're married, call every one of your wife's friends, give your wife or husband 17 cards. If you're in a church, don't be afraid, talk to the pastor and say, here's one of the things about church. By the way, I made a very big inroad in our church. And people say, oh, I'm afraid to order the church. And I said, really? So you're afraid to go to ask people to do business with somebody that believes in the same thing you believe, that has the same values, and you'll go out and hire a stranger.
Randos instead of the people that know you.
Right. And I go. So I encourage people to be involved in their community. Now, is that easy? No. Was it hard for me to knock doors? Yeah, it was really hard. Was it hard to make calls? It still is. I don't like making calls.
Yeah.
I make calls. You have to do the passive, the long term, along with the short term. And I know this is a longer answer than probably, but the reality is that hit the sphere of influence, get a system, and then do the fundamentals for 60, 90 days and see what happens. Yeah. And if you can't do that and sustain that for 90 days, then you're probably not going to make it in the business.